Cantorin, Tales from the Hearth. Saltwind to Silvermere, Episode 6. Oh, my darling. Look who finally came. Jorenhild Corvana Ornheim Montclair. What a name, what a magnificent name. Almost as magnificent as mine. Not quite, but almost. Come in, come in. Jorenhild Corvana Ornheim Montclair. You are welcome in Silvermere Hall. Do you know what your name means, Joe? Of course you do not. Nobody thinks about what their name means, nobody except me, because I'm thorough, I'm curious, I'm the kind of man who investigates things. Jorenhild, Battle Maiden of the Gods, Corvana, of the Raven, Ornheim, Eagle's Home, Montclair, Clear Mountain. This is a name with weight, with history, with birds apparently, many birds, ravens and eagles. Very dramatic. Your ancestors clearly appreciated birds and mountains, which tells me you come from good stock, sensible stock, the kind of people who look at a raven and say, yes, that should be in our name.
We will call you Joe, though, because we are friends now. Jorenhild Corvana Ornheim Montclair is for formal occasions. Joe is for dinner. And this is dinner. You know he looked up the meaning before you came.
Sit! Sit down! Sit down! Not on the edge of the chair like you are planning some kind of escape through the window. This is Silvermere Hall, not a kidnapping. If I wanted to trap you, and believe me, I could. I have trapped many things. Ask anyone. I would have locked the door, or lured you into my dungeon. We have a magnificent dungeon here at Silvermere. Wonderful, wonderful, very spacious, excellent stonework. The chains are a bit rusty, but that adds character. My grandfather had 3 men down there once for a whole winter. They came out very cooperative, very talkative. Changed men, really. But I have not locked the door, and you are not in the dungeon. Check if you like. Go on, I will wait. I am a patient man, extraordinarily patient. People always say to me, Stryvan, how are you so patient? And I tell them it is a gift. A gift. Some men are born with strong arms. Some men are born with good teeth. I was born with patience and cheekbones. Look at these cheekbones, Joe. Really look. Structural marvels. My mother wept when I was born, and the midwife said,
I am going to stop you there, Stryvan, before you tell that story again. Joe, please sit down. Have some wine. You will need it. My husband has been talking about your visit for 3 days. He has prepared. He has practiced. He has, I suspect, rehearsed several of his more dramatic speeches in front of the mirror, though he will deny it. 2 corrections before we continue. The dungeon held 2 men, not 3, and it was 3 weeks, not a winter. Also, his mother wept because he was her 4th labor and took 16 hours. She told me this herself. The cheekbones had nothing to do with it. I am Myra Elith Welwyn. Myra is just a name my mother liked. Elith means starlight, but I have never felt particularly starlit. Welwyn means my family raises sheep. Very good sheep, according to my husband, though he has never actually seen them. I married up, as they say. Some days I wonder if I traded sanity for status. Eat something, Joe. It will be a long evening.
Myra, you hurt my feelings. The cheekbones absolutely had something to do with it. My mother told me, well, she implied, well, she looked at me in a way that suggested, fine, fine, she was tired. Labor is tiring. I accept this, but the cheekbones are still excellent, and you cannot take that away from me. Now, eat! This is roast venison, Joe. Proper venison, from my own forest, shot by my own huntsman. Well, not by me personally. I am too important to chase deer through underbrush. I have people for this. But from my deer on my land, prepared by my cook. And before Myra says, our cook? Yes, fine. Our cook in our hall. But I am the lord and I get to take credit for things. This is how lordship works. Try the honeyed parsnips. Try the pork pie. The pork pie is remarkable. Even Myra admits this, and Myra admits very little. Try the stewed apples with cinnamon. Try the fresh bread with drippings. Try the spiced mead. No, the other mead, the good mead. The mead I say for special guests. You are a special guest, Joe. Not because of your beauty, although you are beautiful. I notice these things. I notice everything. But because you have a mind. A mind. Behind those pretty eyes. You asked about the history of Silvermere. You asked about the hall. Its past, its bones, its meaning. Most people ask stupid questions. How deep is the lake? Deep enough to drown in. How is that for an answer? Is the forest haunted? Everything is haunted if you're drunk enough, believe me. I have tested this extensively. Are you really as handsome as people say? Yes, obviously. More handsome, actually. People undersell me. It is a conspiracy. But you asked about history, and so I will tell you. Nobody tells history like me.
This is true, Joe. Not in the way he means it, but it is true. Nobody tells history quite like Stryvan. He will take a story that could be told in 5 minutes and stretch it to an hour with digressions about his cheekbones, his brother, his opinions on fire safety, and the various women who have allegedly swooned in his direction over the years. The history itself is genuinely interesting. The stags are real. I did not believe it when I first came here, but they are real. The old songs are real, or at least as real as songs can be. And the warnings are real too. So eat your dinner, drink your wine, and settle in. He has been waiting to tell this story to a fresh audience for months. You are doing him a kindness by listening. You are doing me a kindness by being here, because if you were not, he would tell these stories to me again, and I have heard them all at least 40 times. Have some more of the pork pie. It is exceptional. He is not lying about that.
Now, before your pretty little head starts inventing reasons for this dinner, and I say pretty little head, affectionately, Joe, do not make that face. Myra is already making that face, and one face is enough. Let me give you the actual reasons. First, my children. You have been teaching them music, real music, not the shrieking and the banging that usually comes out of the nursery like someone is torturing a cat. And not just any cat, a cat in a bell tower. The acoustics are terrible, but actual music. You have taught them to count beats, to listen, to sit still for more than 4 seconds without biting each other. People said my children would never learn music. Those Boran children, they said. Hopeless, wild, they take after their father. And I said, my children will learn music. You will see. I know about these things. And did I not tell them? Did I not say this would happen? Well, Myra will say I called them feral 2 months ago. Myra will say I was despairing into my wine. This is true, but it was motivational despairing, reverse psychology. It worked. Second reason, you asked about the hole, and the hole means the lake, and the lake means the forest, and the forest means the stags. You have seen the crest, the white stag, proud head, antlers like branching crowns. That is the symbol of Silvermere. Has been for centuries. And there is a reason for that, Joe. They are real! Real! Actually real! I told people this for years and they did not believe me. Stryvan is making things up, they said. Stryvan is exaggerating. And what did I say? I said, you will see. One day you will see, and you will have to admit I was right. I have seen them. My father saw them. My servants have seen them. Even Myra has seen them, and Myra is the most skeptical person I have ever met. She questioned our wedding vows while she was saying them, and every single time, Joe, without exception, they come as a warning. But first, you should hear the name properly. My name. The full name. Because the name is everything. Stryvan Tarnavale Boran of Silvermere Hall. Go on, Joe. Say it back. Stryvan, Vale, Borin. Does it not feel important? Does it not feel weighty? Like a name that owns things? Because it does own things. It owns this hall. It owns these lands. It owns, well, technically it owns the cottage where my brother lives now. But we do not talk about that. It is complicated. There were contracts involved. Very legal. Completely above board. I am a man of integrity. Let me explain. Because the meaning is everything. Stryvan comes from the old tongue. Ancient, noble, nearly forgotten except by scholars and people with excellent breeding like myself. It means he who stands firm. Firm, Joe. Unmovable. Like a mountain, but with better cheekbones. And I do have excellent cheekbones. Everyone says so. Women especially. They come up to me, complete strangers, Joe, and they say, "Stryvan, your cheekbones are extraordinary." And I say, "Yes, I know, please, you are embarrassing yourself, but also thank you. Your taste is impeccable." Tarnavale means of the silver waters. My ancestors looked at this lake, this beautiful, mysterious, slightly terrifying lake, and they said, "Yes, that is us, shiny and deep and impossible to ignore," which, frankly, describes me perfectly. I am extremely shiny when the light hits right. I am very deep, deeper than people expect, and I am absolutely impossible to ignore. I walk into a room and everyone notices. It is a gift and a curse, and Borin means noble born, which is stating the obvious. But the old families like to be thorough. It is not enough to be noble. You have to announce it in your name so that everyone knows immediately what they are dealing with. Very efficient, very practical, very me. Stryvan Tarnavale Borin, he who stands firm, of the silver waters, noble born. That is me, Joe. That is what you are having dinner with. You are welcome. You are marvelously welcome.
What he is not mentioning is how he became Lord. His father was Aldrich Tarnavale Borin, who ran the salt mines on the barren coast, that miserable strip of rock and wind in the far west. Terrifying man. I met him once before he died. He looked at me like I was a horse he was considering not buying. Asked me how many children I could produce and whether my hips were adequate. He was, as Stryvan says, a man of his generation. When Stryvan's grandfather died, the family moved east to claim Silvermeir. Stryvan's older brother, the golden one, the heir, inherited when their father passed. Then the brother got into debt. Cards, dice, women who were not as pretty as the women who allegedly swoon over Stryvan, and Stryvan settled the debt. What this means, Joe, is that he bought his brother's debt from the creditors, then presented his brother with a choice: sign over the estate and live comfortably in a cottage on the grounds, or go to debtor's prison.
A very fair choice.
His brother calls it being swindled by my own blood. He lives in the cottage now. I decorated it. It is nice. But Stryvan has been a good lord, I will give him that. The tenants are better off than they were. The hall is well maintained, and he genuinely cares about this place, about its history, its legends, its strange white stags that appear from nowhere and disappear just as quickly. He has earned the name, even if he did not inherit it directly. Now, tell her about the stags, Stryvan. Tell her the first story. Your father's story.
The first story is not mine. It is my father's. He told it to me when I was a boy, the night before we left the barren coast. I think he wanted me to understand what we were going to, what Silvermeir meant, why it was not just some house with a lake and some trees and a crest that looked impressive on letterhead. He was young when it happened. Maybe 8, maybe 9. His father had brought him to Silvermeir for a summer visit. Back then, my grandfather still lived here, and my father was just the salt merchant's son being shown the family legacy. Some other noblemen's children were visiting too. 3 of them, I think, or 4. My father could not remember exactly. He was old when he told me this, and the details had worn smooth. But he remembered the important parts. He remembered the stags. The children decided to play down by the lake. There was an old wooden jetty, rickety, rotten. The kind of structure that adults look at and say, "Stay away from that. It will collapse and you will drown." Which of course means children look at it and say, "Let us all stand on it at once and jump up and down and see what happens." They went running toward this jetty. And then they stopped, because something was blocking the path, a white stag, standing directly in their way, not grazing, not passing through, just standing there, facing them, like a wall with antlers. My father said the first thing he felt was confusion. Animals do not do this. Animals run from children, or ignore children, or occasionally bite children if the children are being particularly stupid. But this stag did not run. It blocked. The children tried to go around it. The stag moved to block them. They tried the other direction. The stag moved again. They scattered like little mice trying to find a gap, and every time, every single time, the stag was there. One of the nobleman's boys, the eldest, the boldest, the stone thrower, picked up a rock and hurled it at the stag. And the stag did not flinch, did not run, just stood there, looking at this boy with those eyes, those thinking eyes, those ancient, sad, knowing eyes. Eyes that said, "I have been watching your species fumble around for thousands of years, and I am frankly exhausted by the whole thing." It was trying to tell us something, my father said. I know this now. I did not know it then. I was 8. I thought it was just a strange animal being strange. What did I know? I was a child. Children are idiots. The children gave up eventually. Wandered off to find mischief elsewhere. Except one.
The stone thrower. The proud one. The one who thought he was smarter than a stag.
He waited until the others had gone. He waited until the stag, finally, slowly, like it knew what was going to happen and was simply tired of trying to prevent it, turned and walked back into the forest. And then he went to the jetty anyway, because of course he did. Because he was proud. Because he had thrown a stone at a warning and thought it meant he had won something. Because human beings are fundamentally ridiculous creatures who cannot take a hint, even when the hint has antlers and ancient eyes, and is literally standing in front of them saying, "Do not do this thing." My father did not see what happened next. He only heard about it later, when the screaming started and the adults came running. The jetty collapsed. Of course it collapsed. It was rotten. The stag knew it was rotten, and the boy went into the water. Now, here is the thing about that lake, Joe. The thing everyone forgets because it looks so calm, so pretty, so peaceful. The thing is, it is deep, very deep, and cold. Cold like death. And there are currents that come up from places that have never seen sunlight. They never found him, Joe.
Never.
They searched for days, boats on the water, men with hooks and ropes, divers who held their breath and went down into that cold, dark water and came back up shaking their heads. Nothing. The lake took him and the lake kept him. 12 years old and the water swallowed him like he had never existed at all. Have some more mead. This part is heavy. Mead helps. The second story is mine. I was 19, maybe 20. Still foolish enough to think I knew things. Still handsome enough to get away with not knowing things. The perfect age, really. And Joe, I was extraordinarily handsome. I know I am handsome now, but then I was devastating. I could not walk through a town without some maiden swooning in my direction. I had to plan alternate routes just to get anywhere. Sometimes I wore a large hat so my handsomeness did not intimidate them. It did not always work. The handsomeness radiates, Joe. It cannot be contained. Women would see me coming and they would clutch their friends' arms. They would whisper. They would blush. Complete strangers would find reasons to speak to me. "Excuse me, sir. Do you know the way to the market?" Of course they knew the way to the market. They had lived there their whole lives. They just wanted to hear my voice, to stand in the presence of my cheekbones. It was exhausting, Joe. Truly exhausting. Being that handsome is a burden most people cannot imagine. You cannot go anywhere without causing a commotion. You cannot buy bread without the baker's daughter forgetting how to count. You cannot attend a festival without half the village following you around like ducklings.
This is wildly exaggerated.
It is not exaggerated. It is understated. I am being modest. I could tell you stories that would...
Please do not.
Fine. The point is, I was young and handsome and foolish. This was before I met Myra. Before the debts. Before all that unpleasantness with my brother. I was just the second son. The spare, as they say, with too much time and not enough responsibility. It was autumn. Late autumn, when the trees go red and gold and the air smells like decay pretending to be beautiful. The weather was pleasant still, a bit of chill in the mornings, but the afternoons were mild. Very romantic weather. Very atmospheric. The kind of weather that makes young men do stupid things. And I had gone into the forest because there was a girl, a woodcutter's daughter. She had smiled at me in a way that suggested she might smile at me again if I happened to be in the right place at the right time. Her father was away, selling timber at the market. Very convenient. And she had told me, with that particular look young women get when they are being bold, that she would be home alone. So I went into the forest. I was maybe halfway to the cottage, heart beating fast, mind full of extremely pleasant possibilities, when I saw it. A white stag, standing in the middle of the path. Not grazing, not passing through, just standing there facing me exactly the way my father had described. And the first thing I felt was awe, because it was beautiful, extraordinarily beautiful. The most beautiful thing I had ever seen, and I have seen many beautiful things, including myself in a mirror on multiple occasions. It was white like snow, white like bone, white like something that had no business existing in a world full of mud and mortality. Its antlers spread wide, like branches that had learned to rule. Its coat gleamed. Its eyes. Those eyes, Joe. The second thing I felt was my father's voice in my head, telling me about a boy who threw a stone and vanished. I tried to go around it. Of course I tried. I am Stryvan Tarnavale Borin. I do not let deer tell me what to do. It blocked me. I went left. It moved. I went right. It moved again. Every direction I tried, it was there. And I stood there looking into those eyes, the same eyes my father had described. And I felt something I am not used to feeling. Fear. Fine, I admit it. Fear. I was afraid. Those eyes, Joe, they were not animal eyes. They were not human eyes. They were something else entirely. Something that had been thinking for a very long time and had gotten very, very good at it. And I thought about that boy on the jetty. The one who threw the stone. The one they never found. And I thought, the woodcutter's daughter will still be there tomorrow. And the day after. Women wait for me. This is a documented fact. But I might not be there tomorrow. I might be dead. I might be drowned. I might be a cautionary tale told to children who do not listen to stags. So I turned around. I walked home. And the whole way, Joe, the whole miserable walk through that beautiful autumn forest, I felt like an idiot, a coward, a magnificent fool who had let a deer stop him from doing what young men are supposed to do. By the time I reached the hall, I had half convinced myself I had imagined the whole thing, that I had gotten spooked by shadows and my father's old stories. Then I smelled smoke. It was a skeleton day, Joe. Most of the servants were on leave. Just a handful of people in the whole hall, and nobody was watching the east wing, where someone had left a lantern burning too close to a curtain, and the lantern had toppled over, and the curtain had caught. Now, and this is the important part, I had told people about fire safety. I had said, we need better protocols, we need more watchmen, we need to be careful with lanterns. And did they listen? No. They said, Stryvan is being dramatic. Stryvan worries too much. Stryvan is just the second son. What does he know? What do I know? I know that if you leave a lantern near a curtain, you will burn the whole house down. By the time I came through the door, the fire had spread from the curtain to the wall hanging to the wooden beam. I shouted. I ran. I grabbed a bucket. I grabbed a servant. I grabbed everyone I could find. And we fought it, Joe. We fought that fire like we were possessed. Every bucket was a battle. Every ember was an enemy. 2 hours we fought. 2 hours of smoke and heat and my lungs burning and my hands blistering. We put it out. If I had arrived 10 minutes later, if I had stayed in the forest, following a girl's smile, the whole east wing would have gone. And from there, the rest. The bedrooms, the records, the history. Maybe people, Joe. People sleeping, people unaware, people who would have burned in their beds. The stag blocked my path. The stag sent me home.
He did save the hall. This is documented. I have read the household records from that year. Young Master Stryvan organized the firefighting efforts and prevented the destruction of the East Wing. It is one of the few stories he tells that is actually true in all its particulars. He really did save the hall, the stag really did stop him, and he really has never let anyone forget it. But there is another story, Joe, a grimmer one. One that Stryvan always rushes through because he wants to get to the part about the Lady of Mist and Moon, who is beautiful and mysterious, and whom he is, frankly, obsessed with. So I will tell this one. It comes from old Marta, who has been with this house longer than some of the furniture. Terrifying woman, wonderful with silver polish. Her great-great-great-grandmother worked in the kitchens here 200 years ago. Maybe more. And her great-great-great-grandmother saw something that people still talk about in the villages around the lake. The night of the fire dancers. It was late summer. Warm days, cool nights. The kitchen was busy preparing for some feast. There was always a feast back then. Marta's great-great-great-grandmother had gone to the herb garden to pick rosemary. Simple errand, nothing remarkable. And she saw a stag at the edge of the forest, a white stag. But this one was different from all the stories I have heard. In every other account, the stags are calm, patient. They stand like statues carved from moonlight. They watch like judges who have seen everything and are no longer surprised by anything. But this one was distressed. It paced, Joe, back and forth at the edge of the trees. It tossed its head, it stamped its hooves against the ground, and it kept looking across the lake, toward the town on the far shore, toward the place where people lived and worked and had no idea what was coming. The story goes that it looked desperate, like it was trying to warn someone, like it could see something terrible approaching and could not find any way to make anyone understand. She stood in the herb garden with rosemary in her hands, watching this ancient creature pace and stamp and look across the water with something like fear in its eyes. Then it turned and looked at her. "Those eyes," she said. "Those ancient, knowing, desperate eyes." And then it vanished into the forest. She did not know what to do. She went back to the kitchens. She told the cook what she had seen, and the cook laughed and said she had been drinking too much elderberry wine. 3 days later, the fog came. It was not ordinary fog, Joe. Not the kind that rolls in from the lake on cool mornings and burns off by noon. This came from nowhere, from nothing. One moment the air was clear, and the next there was a wall of white rolling across the water, rolling toward the town, rolling like it had purpose, like it was hunting. And it was cold. Cold like nothing anyone had ever felt. Cold that bit through wool and leather and skin. Cold that made your bones ache. This was late summer, Joe. People were wearing linen, and suddenly there was this freezing fog, swallowing everything, and people could feel the warmth draining out of them with every breath. If they had stood still, if they had gone inside and closed their doors and waited for the fog to pass, they would have frozen where they stood. The cold was that deep, that hungry, that patient. But someone had the sense to light a fire. Nobody knows who it was. Nobody remembers. But someone gathered wood, whatever they could find, chairs and crates and anything that would burn, and lit a fire in the middle of the town square. And people gathered around it, and they danced. Not for joy, Joe, for survival. They danced because if they stopped moving, they would freeze. The fog pressed in from all sides. The cold crept closer. And the people danced. Fire dancers, they called them afterward. The people who survived that night. And 3 days before it happened, a stag stood at the edge of the forest, desperate and afraid, trying to warn someone, anyone who could not understand.
Now, the old tales. There are songs, Joe, very old songs, from before the Great War, more than 10,000 years ago when the world was different. They talk about blending. The stags had threads of intelligence or human emotions or something woven into them like a tapestry, human threads, animal threads, blended together into something new. Nobody understands what this means. The songs do not explain. They just say threads and weaving like everyone should know. How do you weave threads of intelligence into an animal? What threads? Where are they? Can you see them? Can you touch them? But here is the interesting part, Joe. The part most people do not know. The stags are not from here. The White Stags of Silvermere are not native to Silvermere. They were brought here thousands and thousands of years ago. One of my ancestors, a very distant ancestor, so far back that nobody remembers his name properly, they just call him the firstborn. He had them brought to the forest. He found them somewhere else, and he had them transported. How, nobody knows. They are not exactly cooperative creatures. And he released them into the Silvermere forest, and they have been here ever since. The family records do not say where he found them. The records are useless. Water damage, fire damage, my brother using them as kindling when he was bored. But the stories, the old stories, the ones people tell in taverns and around fires, they say the firstborn brought the stags from the vernal plains.
The lands between Cantorin and the barren coast, where the vernal walkers live.
The vernal walkers. They are a primitive people, Joe, very primitive. They live on the vernal plains, which is a strange land. Part grassland, part forest, patches of trees scattered across open plains, like nature could not make up its mind what it wanted to be. The vernal walkers spend their days on the open plains, gathering food, hunting, doing whatever primitive people do. But when night falls, they retreat to the trees. They live in tree houses, Joe, high in the forest patches that dot the plains. They climb up into the branches every single night and pull up their ladders behind them, like children, like birds, like squirrels.
Why? Because they say beasts roam the plains at night. Creatures that come out when the sun goes down. Things with teeth and claws and appetites. So the vernal walkers hide in their trees and wait for dawn.
We build walls, Myra. We build castles. We do not scurry up into trees every time it gets dark.
We also do not have mysterious nocturnal beasts roaming our lands.
Because we are civilized, we drove our beasts away. We conquered them. The vernal walkers just coexist with theirs, hiding in trees, eating berries, living like people did 10,000 years ago.
What my husband will not admit, Joe, is that the vernal walkers have survived on those plains for longer than any kingdom he could name. They have knowledge we do not have, about the land, about the animals, about the beasts that hunt at night. And they have knowledge about the stags. They believe the stags know things, remember things no human remembers. They say the stags carry memories older than any human life, older than any human civilization. Memories of the world as it was before. The vernal walkers have lived with the stags for a very long time. Longer than us, longer than Silvermere, longer than any kingdom or hall. They do not worship them, but they respect them. And perhaps they are right to.
Whatever you think of the vernal walkers, and I think very little of them as you can tell, they knew the stags first. If the stags truly came from the vernal plains, the first Borin would have had to convince the vernal walkers to let them go, or steal them, or make some kind of deal. The stories say he made a bargain. Nobody knows what kind. But something happened thousands of years ago that brought the white stags from the vernal plains to the Silvermere forest, and they have been here ever since, watching us, warning us, saving ungrateful young lords from fires.
Saving you.
Saving me.
There is one more thing, Joe. The songs mention her.
The lady.
Here we go.
The lady of mist and moon. The songs say she is connected to the stags, their guardian, or their queen, or something older. She walks the lake when the moon is right and the mist rises. The ferryman claims to have seen her, the blacksmith's wife, several servants. But not me, I have never seen her. Which is rude, frankly. I am the Lord of Silvermere. I should see the mysterious fog woman. I want to pay my respects, as Lord of these lands. Also, she is apparently very beautiful, and I appreciate beautiful women.
Yes, I had noticed.
You are also a beautiful woman. You are my favorite beautiful woman.
How reassuring.
It is very reassuring. You are the only beautiful woman I'm married to. Currently. Unless the fog lady wants to,
Stryvan.
Wants to hear about my immense respect for my wonderful wife. That is what I was going to say. Obviously. What else would I say? I am a devoted husband. A faithful man. A man who would never dream of courting a fog woman, even if she is apparently made of moonlight and mystery and...
Stryvan.
I'm stopping now.
Good choice. The songs say the lady was there when the blending happened, when human threads were woven into the stags. Some say she did the weaving herself. Nobody knows which story is true. Perhaps all of them are true in their own way.
That makes no sense.
Many things make no sense, Stryvan. That does not mean they are not true.
So there you are, Joe. Jorenhild Corvana Ornheim Montclair. The complete history of Silvermere. A boy on a jetty who did not listen to a warning and drowned for his pride. A young fool, me, who did listen barely, reluctantly, and saved his family's haul because of it. Fire dancers who kept moving all night to survive a freezing fog that would have killed them if they had stood still. Ancient songs about creatures with human intelligence woven into them like threads in a tapestry. 10,000 years before anyone thought to count the years. Stags that came from the vernal plains, brought here by the first Borin, who made some kind of bargain nobody remembers.
The vernal walkers, hiding in their tree houses from the beasts that hunt at night, who have lived with the stags longer than anyone and believe they remember things no human does.
And a lady made of mist and moonlight, who may have walked beside the stags all the way from the plains to this lake, and who refuses to show herself to me, even though I am a lord, and I deserve it. This is Silvermeir. This is what the crest means. Not just pretty decoration, not just family pride. A reminder that we live here on borrowed time, that the forest was here first and will be here last, that the stags are watching, always watching, and when they show themselves, you had better pay attention.
For once, we agree.
We often agree.
We agree occasionally on important things.
And if you ever see the lady, Joe, tell her, Lord Stryvan Tarnavael Borin, he who stands firm, of the silver waters, noble born, would very much like to make her acquaintance. Tell her I am surprisingly handsome for a man of my experience.
Stryvan Tarnavael Borin.
My wife is giving me a look that suggests I should stop talking about fog women, which I am doing. Right now, I have stopped.
Wise.
I am a wise man. This is known.
Remember everything you have learned tonight, Joe. The stags are real. The stags are watching, and when they show themselves, when they stand in your path or pace at the edge of the forest, or look at you with those ancient, knowing eyes.
Listen.
Listen.
Good night, Jorenhild Corvana Ornheim Montclair, battle maiden of the gods, raven woman, eagle home person, clear mountain lady, come back again. There are always more stories.
Good night, Joe. Sleep well.
Good night.